What's up, guys? Welcome to GoGo Motoring YouTube channel. This is going to be the 6th video of a series of what you need to know videos I'm making of several BMW Z cars. In the last video, I told you what you needed to know about the BMW Z4 M Roadster, which in many ways is identical to the BMW Z4 M Coupe that you see in this video. I would suggest that you watch that video first before you watch this one, because the video on the BMW Z4 M Roadster goes into more detail into the Z4 M platform in general. In this video, I will focus specifically on the differences between the Roadster and the Coupe and which one I would buy if given the choice. Let's begin by telling you about the similarities between the BMW Z4 M Roadster and the Z4 M Coupe. First, both come equipped with the same engine. That engine is the S54 3.2 liter naturally aspirated inline-6 engine that came from the E46 M3. In the Z4 M Coupe, just like in the Z4 M Roadster, the engine produced 330 horsepower at 7,900 RPM and 262 pound-foot of torque at 4,900 RPM. And even though it's the same engine from the E46 M3, the Z4 M engines produces 3 horsepower less than the E46 M3 due to slightly more restrictive exhaust plumbing as a result of Z4's smaller dimensions than the E46 M3. So the Coupe and the Roadster have the same engine, and they also have the same transmission. That transmission is the Type HZF 6-speed manual transmission, and that's a different transmission of the one that was in the E46 M3. And that's because the transmission of the E46 M3 did not fit the Z4 chassis. So as it relates to the transmission and the engine, the Roadster and the Coupe are identical. Let's talk about the differences between the Roadster and the Coupe, starting with the performance. And surprisingly, the Z4 Roadster, the Z4 M Roadster, puts up slightly better performance number than the Z4 M Coupe, even though the many articles that were written prior to the Coupe's release all expected the Coupe to be faster than the Roadster. So according to different publications that I looked at before making this video, the 0 to 60 time for the Roadster was 4.6 seconds and the quarter mile was in 13.2 seconds. And then for the Coupe, the 0 to 60 time was 4.8 seconds and the quarter mile was 13.4 seconds. So based on some of those publications, the Coupe is about 0.2 slower than the Roadster. And then I also cross-referenced those articles against the Fastest Laps website, which posts track times for different types of cars. And when I compared the Z4 M Roadster to the Z4 M Coupe, and when I compared their track time, surprisingly, I found that the Roadster posted faster times on the same tracks than the Coupe 3 out of the 4 times. So on the Fastest Laps website, there are 4 tracks that the Z4 M Roadster and the Z4 M Coupe were tracked on. And of those 4, the Roadster was faster on 3 of them, and on the 4th one, the Roadster and the M Coupe had the same lap time. So that's, I guess, a little surprising, and it's even kind of conflicts with what people are saying on the forums in terms of which one is faster and better. But at least from those sources that I looked at, the Roadster does appear to be slightly faster, and I think it's because the Roadster weighs slightly less. So it weighs a little bit less than the Coupe, and maybe that has an impact on why it's posting faster lap times, at least with some of these websites. And then again, it's hard to compare lap times. I mean, I understand there's a lot of different factors that go into it. Temperature, tire, driver, etc. But just wanted to share with you what's out there. So the performance is slightly different between the Coupe and the Roadster. There are also some differences in the chassis between the Coupe and the Roadster. For the most part, the chassis are similar in the sense that they both, the Coupe and the Roadster have a limited slip differential from the E46 M3, and both are equipped with hydraulically assisted steering racks, unlike the electronically assisted steering racks in the Z4. So that's the same. But the Z4 M Coupe has firmer springs, has unique anti-roll bars, and it has more aggressive damping than the Z4 M Roadster. So it's got a little bit stiffer suspension than the Z4 M Roadster. Another difference between the Coupe and the Roadster is the rigidity, and again, that's to be expected because cars with a fixed roof are going to be more rigid than cars without roofs, i.e. convertibles. But the Coupe is actually twice as stiff as the Roadster. Now, it is worth noting that the Roadster itself is very stiff. It's a very stiff convertible, and it's the stiffest convertible in its class. So the Roadster, the Z4 M Roadster itself, doesn't really suffer from flex like many other convertibles do. But despite that, the fact that the Coupe is twice as stiff as the Roadster just tells you how rigid that car is, and it tells you how tight its handling is. Another difference between the Roadster and the Coupe is that the Coupe is a little more aerodynamic. It actually sits lower than the Roadster, and then it also has this fastback roof, which helps reduce drag. So the aerodynamics are another small difference between the two cars. And then obviously the looks, right? I mean, one's a Roadster, the other's a Coupe, right? So they're going to look differently. But the Coupe has this, fastback roof, which makes it look very sleek and elegant. Makes it look very aerodynamic. Makes it look very purpose-built. I mean, just looks like the car just looks awesome. I love everything about the way this car looks. I love the bonnet. I love those two longitudinal lines across the bonnet. And then you also see the sharper edges in the front here. So I mean, the Z4 M Coupe looks awesome. I think it looks very different than a lot of other cars, and I think that's one of the things that absolutely makes it special. Just a perfectly proportioned car, a muscular car, and a car that looks a lot better to me than the Z3 M Coupe. I know a lot of people like the Z3 M Coupe, a lot of enthusiasts do, and in many ways, those cars are similar, but in my opinion, you can't compare the two. I think the Z4 M Coupe is significantly better looking than the Z3 M Coupe, and I think it's literally like one of the best looking cars that I've seen. And I also feel the same way about the Z4 M Roadster. So looks wise, they look different, obviously, because one's a coupe, the other's a roadster, but both of them are gorgeous cars. Both of them have these quad exhausts in the back that you see here. They got that rear diffuser. They've got those taillights that are a little bit different than what you see certainly in the early generations of the Z4, like the one that I have. But just a gorgeous, gorgeous looking car. Let's talk about the sales. And I kind of mentioned this in the previous video, but there were a total of 4,275 M Coupes that were produced worldwide and 5,070 M Roadsters. And then of those numbers, 1,815 M Coupes were sold in North America, and then 3,042 M Roadsters were sold in North America. So about almost twice as many Roadsters were sold as the Coupes, 1,200 more. And as a result of that, the Coupe has actually become more of a collector's car because fewer of them were produced in the U.S., so their prices are pretty high, and their prices are typically higher than what you would be paying for a Z4 M Roadster of similar mileage and condition. And so obviously the smaller numbers make the car more collectible, but I think in addition to the smaller numbers, also the fact that it's a coupe that makes it more desirable among the car enthusiasts, which are going to be the people that are ultimately going to be looking to buy this car, right? And as I explained in the video of the Z3 M Coupe, car enthusiasts prefer coupes over roadsters because of the extra rigidity that the roof provides in the car, and it's just one of those things that the combination of low numbers and it being a coupe, it make that more of a collector's car than the Roadster is. So let's kind of talk about what the main purpose of this video is, which is which one should you get? Should you get the Z4 M Roadster or would you get the Z4 M Coupe? And as with many things in life, the answer is it depends, right? Um, it really depends on what you're looking for in your particular situation. Um, and as somebody who owns a coupe and a roadster, albeit not M, Z4 Ms, but I have a Z4 and I also have a BMW 328i. But I feel like I have a good base of experience to tell you what the pros and cons are of each, the coupe and the roadster. So let me give you a couple of reasons why a coupe may be better than a roadster for your particular situation. If this is going to be your only car, the coupe will probably be a better choice than the roadster, and I'll tell you why. First, I think the coupe is easier to live with on a daily basis than a convertible is, than a roadster is. Number one, with a fixed roof car, like you don't really have to worry about the weather. It doesn't matter whether it's going to rain, whether it's going to snow, whether it's going to be cold. Like some of those things I think about, when determining whether to take the Z4 to work or whether to take my 328i coupe to work. So with a coupe with a fixed roof, it doesn't matter what the weather is, right? So that choice is eliminated. I think it's also easier to upkeep. The upkeep is easier with a coupe than it is with a roadster. Like for example, when it comes to washing the car, you don't have to worry about taking the coupe through an automatic car wash, right? I mean, I do it every once in a while, and I've got zero concerns about that automatic car wash damaging the car. Conversely, I don't do that with my Z4 Roadster. So that's another added element, that kind of a con of the Roadster in comparison to the coupe. It's also worth noting that because the coupe has a fixed roof, there are less moving parts than in the Roadster. So the maintenance costs are going to be lower. If you've all been watching my channel, you know that I had to spend quite a bit of money fixing the convertible roof on my Z4. And so basically at some point, if you have a Roadster, you have to change the hydraulic hinges, you have to replace the roof motor, you probably have to change the convertible roof itself, and all that can be costly. I mean, that's thousands of dollars that you're spending in repairs that you don't have to really worry about when you're dealing with a coupe. So all of these things are eliminated with the coupe. The coupe may also be a good choice or a better choice than the Roadster if you want to track your car. So in many places, they don't allow you to go to a track in a Roadster. You can only do it in a coupe or a car that has a roof. So if tracking is important to you, then I'd probably go with the coupe because you'll be able to use it for that. And I think additionally the driving dynamics are probably going to be sharper, slightly sharper, especially if you're taking it on a track than the Roadster. Again, we talked about it being stiffer. So I'm sure that you would notice that difference, if you're driving the car on a track. And even though, the Roadster appears to be like putting up better performance numbers, it appears to be a little bit faster based at least on some of the publications that I've seen. It is worth noting that you don't really need to drive a Roadster fast when the roof is down. I mean, when I drive my Z4 and I've got the roof down, I don't really, I'm perfectly fine going 60 miles per hour. Like I don't feel the need to be, going 70, 80, 90. In fact, I don't want to go that fast with the roof down because it's just not a comfortable experience. So I think if you're tracking the car, high speed is what you're looking for. I think really coupe may be a better option for you. And then finally, if you're looking to buy this car as an investment, I think certainly the coupe will probably be a better investment for the reasons that we just talked about, i.e. there were less units made, and ultimately the purchaser of that type of a car is going to be a car enthusiast, and car enthusiasts generally prefer coupes over roadsters. So those are, some of the reasons in favor of purchasing a coupe over the Roadster. Now let me give you a couple of reasons why a Roadster may be a better choice than the coupe. It really comes down to one. The Roadster is definitely going to be more of an occasion to drive than the coupe's going to be. If this is going to be your weekend toy, and this is something that you want to, take out on the back roads on the weekends when the weather is nice, the ability to drop the roof is going to make that particular driving experience much more of an occasion than if you're in a coupe. Because when the weather's nice, it is really hard to beat a convertible in terms of the driving experience. When you drop the roof, the driving experience is much more visceral and physical. You feel the wind in your hair. You're outside. You hear the sound of the engine from the back. You hear the noises from the environment that's around you. You can smell what's in the air. I mean, there's so many sensory things that happen when you're driving a convertible that you just can't feel in a car that's got a closed roof. That's just a fact. And as somebody who lives with a Roadster and a coupe, I can tell you there's a significant difference in the occasion of driving that car. I mean, if you look at the cars that I have, they're pretty similar in a way, right? They're both rear-wheel drive. They both have 6-speed manuals. They both, come equipped with BMW naturally aspirated inline-6 engines. And I can tell you that when I'm driving the Z4 with the roof down, it just, the experience is just more highlighted. So, that would be the reason to buy the Roadster for sure. So, which one would I buy? I guess, as with everything, it depends, but I think if you take into account some of these things that I talked about, that should help you make your decision. All right, that's it for this What You Need to Know video about the BMW Z4 M Coupe. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, share it, leave a comment below, and subscribe to my channel. There are going to be plenty more videos coming your way. Thank you.